Hi, welcome to the Vergas Show. I'm Sherri Hansen. Thanks for joining us today. As you know, Veterans Day is November 11th, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of the Veterans Day, and then I also have the privilege of being amongst some veterans today. With me at this first segment, I'm going to be talking to Rodney Hansen, Alwyn Martinson, and Leonard Hillstrom, and then we're going to have a second segment that'll be showing next week, and we'll have some more of our veterans, and it's just a small representation of all the wonderful men and women who have served our country that come from our area that we call Vergas. I'd like to give you just a little bit of history of Veterans Day. Veterans Day was known, World War I, known as the Great, at the time as the Great War, ended in Versailles, France. And it was at a time on November 11th, it was the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. And that is why November 11th has been designated as Veterans Day. It's generally regarded as Armistice Day. Some people will recall it as that. Hearing that, and in November of 1919, President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed November 11th as the first commemorative Armistice Day, so that we could, to us in America, the reflections of Armistice Day will be filled with solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's service, and with gratitude for the victory, both because of the thing that they freed us from, but because of the opportunity as it has given us Americans to show the peace and justice in the conflicts of the nations. President Eisenhower in October of 1954 also proclaimed it into law, so that we preserved the date of November 11th, and so whether it falls on a Monday or a Wednesday, November 11th continues to be the day that we honor and recognize our veterans who served for us so faithfully. Enough of that. I am with some people that I want you to know, I want you to understand. I'm just humbled being among them, and so I guess I'm just going to go right to them. And so first I'll go to Leonard Hillstrom. You go ahead and say your name again, Leonard, and why don't you just tell me what war you served in, what your rank was, and maybe an experience that you had over there.
Well, if I can remember that all, I'll try.
Okay.
I'm Leonard Hillstrom from Vergas, Minnesota, and I went into the service on 1942. And I came out in 45. And I was in the Army. And I served overseas in Africa, North Africa, and Italy. And then what else was it?
Well, do you have any experience that you'd like to share with us on that, Leonard? That comes to mind?
No, a lot of them, but I don't want to mention.
There's a lot of them.
That.
Yeah, we have many hours, right?
Yeah.
Many. Well, I would like to personally thank you for being a veteran, not only from our area, but for serving and protecting our country. We're very honored.
Yeah, thank you.
Next, I have with me Rodney Hansen.
Rodney Hansen, Vergas. I served in the U.S. Army Air Force, which was later changed to the U.S. Air Force. It was a 4-year enlistment. I started out my overseas duty in Japan with the World War II occupational forces, and then I got transferred to the Philippines, where I spent almost 3 years, and our special duty was monitoring radiological fallout. We were looking for the Russian bomb to explode, and we were there when it did and detected it. And during that time, the Korean War broke out, so I'm called a Korean War veteran, but I never had anything to do with the war. Pretty much just reading a oscilloscope and trying to track the decay of certain elements. Very easy job.
Owen? Owen Martinson.
Yes. Alwyn Martinson of Vergas. I turned 17 in 43, so in November I enlisted in the Navy for 4 years. I was a radio operator on a troop ship. We landed on Iwo Jima and Okinawa. And, well, I suppose the most memorable experience was, you know, there was 500 ships in the convoy, and you zigzag all the time. Well, some of them made the wrong turn, 2 o'clock in the morning. Of course, I'm a sound sleeper, so I never woke up. But they gave the order to prepare to abandon ship, because I was sleeping on 5 foot of TNT. Oh. But they told me about it the next morning, but nothing happened. So.
Well, Alwyn, I think you just got done before we started filming here saying that preparing for this filming was worse than the war. I don't know if I'm going to agree with that.
Well, you know, it's hard to talk about stuff like this. You know, I was thinking about this beforehand. You know, when the war ended in 45, there was no fighting going on at all. And that was the most peaceful, comfortable time. And, you know, we haven't known that since then.
That's true, Alwyn. Rodney, when you talk about you didn't actually see combat, give me some more memory.
Well, not on the base or on the war front, probably a little bit downtown on that town that was off the base. I saw a little combat. I'm just joking. But I had a very interesting job, and sort of a demanding job, and I specially trained for it. And there was 10 of us that were trained for this particular job, and each one of us sent to a different island in the South Pacific, and we're supposed to pinpoint if the Russians ever exploded a nuclear bomb. And so we did our job, but it wasn't. It was no heroics involved, and then no war front involved. But
it was definitely part of it. Leonard, do you have any? What specific job did you do over there?
I was a mechanic for the 5th Army, the 31st Ordnance Company. That was what I was in, and we serviced the 5th Army for anything they had. We could fix it.
I think, you know, what we've seen here, just talking with these gentlemen, and in our next segment you're going to be seeing when we talk to some of the others, is there's just many different aspects to serving. And I'd like to close this segment with, I just want to make sure that you know that it's a privilege. I find it a privilege every time that I'm able to say thank you to the people who served in the wars. And so I hope that all of you take that time at some point to say thank you to the Americans veterans. We need to let them know that we appreciate them and that we appreciate the service, and we honor them for their sacrifices, because it was a sacrifice to just be away from home. And some, of course, did the ultimate sacrifice and paid the price, because the price of freedom is really high. And we can't afford to forget that. And we can't afford to forget those who were willing to pay that price for us. So I do appreciate you, gentlemen, and I hope that you'll tune in next week, and we will have some more of the wonderful veterans that come from our country and from Vergas area. Thank you.